Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the Frontline Changes report for the past 24 hours. And we're going to jump straight into it in the Lyman front. So over at the Lyman front, over at Toske, we have a geolocation of Russian forces over in the south of the town. And in my mapping, because the previous geolocation was here, I basically assumed that the Russian forces basically went south of the town, because it just make logic. Like, no, they wave the flag, so clearly they are very safe. Then the Ukrainian mapping surprisingly draw it entirely differently. I think maybe because they want to avoid saying that Toske is captured or something. They draw it in this way. Yeah, so basically they draw it like this. I was like, what? Then, so in the Ukrainian mapping, Russian forces actually have taken all the forests in the east of the southern part of Toske, and then this area in the north is gray zone. So the Russian forces are here. The Russian forces are here, but they assume that it's going to be like a U-shaped kind of thing. Okay, so let's, yeah, that's what it is. So is what it is. If the Russians come from the east, the advance is probably at least 5 kilometers. If they come from the north, as per how I mapped it, the advance is around 2.7 kilometers. Either way is bad, but coming from the east sounds worse. So whatever it is, which means that there's a good chance that the Russian forces actually have taken all of this as well, because this is an impossible salient or impossible encirclement. So whatever it is, yeah, we get our ridiculous weird situation here. So yeah, so Toske at this rate is going to be captured by the look of it, and a huge chunk of forest is losing ground, has been lost. And if this is all lost, then yeah, I think this part is going to be super dangerous, and it's going to fall pretty quickly, because I don't think the Ukrainians are defending that much anymore. So after this area, the next frontline change is over at Ivano-Darivka. So there, after yesterday's mapping, we have this mapping previously. Now Russian forces geolocated here, expanding the zone of control as the Russian forces continue to try to conquer the rest of this fortification. So the fact that the speed is a bit slow might suggest that the Ukrainian forces are still fighting, yeah, but running away is going to be suicidal. They're going to be hunted down by FPV drones. So, I mean, how do you run from this kind of place? Oh my god, this is just pure open ground. So that's all. The very tiny change. The next frontline change, we jump to Kotlярivka over in the southern flank of the Pokrovsk front. So this actually comes as a mapping updating Horikove, but as per nowadays, many of the mapping by DEEPSTATEUA are all smaller than the mapping we have changed based on geolocation. So as a result, there's no change at Horikove except for this little part here in the north of Kotlярivka, and the Russian forces straighten the front line a little bit like this. So very tiny change, not important at all. It's just like, no, they say the Russians reach here. So that's all. After Kotlярivka, the next frontline change is over at Zelene Pole. So over in the Komar front, so we have these two pieces here. So in the north of Zelene Pole, Russian forces have taken more grounds in the north as the Russian forces start to push north from Zelene Pole, capturing quite a number of tree lines and securing the northwest of Zelene Pole. So this is starting to create some kind of a salient on the east of Zelene Pole, which is a pretty unusual or pretty uncomfortable situation, which I as usual, I think this any troops is there is, yeah, they're gone now. And this is largely, in relation to the fighting over here, where the Russians are trying to push for Komishavacha. So yeah, still quite a bit of distance away. We are still like talking about like 4 kilometers away from Komar. In the south, around at Novopil, Russian forces captured Novopil after the Ukrainian mapping confirmed that the Russian forces have captured all the tree lines on the west of Novopil. And so Novopil has been captured and Novodarivka has been secured entirely in the northwest. So this is also a good advance by the Russian forces. The advance here is 2.5 kilometers. So this is a very big capture, which means the Ukrainians did not defend. They have abandoned the position as well. This comes after the update previously over here. This advance here is around 1.4 kilometers. So a bit slower than the 2 kilometers reach we expect when it's undefended. But of course, there is a possibility this took way longer because there is no frontline changes prior to this in this sector here. So, and we have one last frontline change. It's over at Kamyanske. So over at Kamyanske, over here in the Zaporizhzhia front, there is a interesting development. Ukrainian forces geolocated in the east of Kamyanske, and which means that Ukrainian forces have counterattacked and taken parts of the eastern part of Kamyanske, capturing all these grounds. So the battle of Kamyanske is back, and let's see how far the Ukrainians can push the Russians, whether they can resecure the northern half of Kamyanske. So let's see. I think the Russians are pretty committed in the northern part of Kamyanske. If not, there's no reason to conquer the rest of it. So let's see how this goes. The advance is around 1 kilometer. So there is some resistance, but no, the resistance are insufficient. I think the Russians did not deploy enough troops in defensive position. So that's all for the frontline changes. So we have, let's go to Pokrovsk. I think this is a more interesting background. So the biggest frontline change is over at Lyman, which is Pokrovsk, and also at Komar, which there is the Novopil and the Zelene Pole updates. So let's do some calculation. The Ukrainians captured 0.88 square kilometers. Let me update that. 0.88 square kilometers. This is basically only from Kamyanske, and then the Russians captured 9.44 plus 0.07 plus 0.28 plus 9.88. The total area captured is 19.67 square kilometers, so almost 20 square kilometers. And of course, this is not including this forest, which is becoming like an impossible encirclement, where I don't even think there's any Ukrainian troops over there. So yeah, it should be over 20 square kilometers. We will get there. So anyway, thank you for watching. Happy birthday to you. If your birthday today, press the like button, subscribe. We are going for 100,000. We are getting close. And also the frontline history has been published behind paywall. So if you want to watch the frontline history, which is the frontline changes for the entire of July. So from the beginning of July to the end of July, what is the changes? I can tell you it's a very, very shocking change over the last month. So if you want to watch it, subscribe, become a paying member on Patreon, and or you can become YouTube member in the YouTube membership. That also works, although I receive lesser money if you join YouTube membership. I get more money on the Patreon because the cut on YouTube is 30%. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next update.